So, after 2 weeks of me, 33F, dating this guy I'll call Tom, 29Nem, I had 1 week off from work. The connection was so extraordinary between us that he decided to take a week off too, so we could go on vacation together. Pretty fast, I admit. But hey, when you know, you know. Our first day, we explored a quaint coastal town, ate a lot, laughed a ton, and made out like teenagers every few minutes. As night fell, we needed to look for his car to return to our Airbnb, but couldn't remember where we'd parked. I thought I'd saved the GPS location and we followed it, but to no avail. After about 20 minutes of walking and endless chatter, there came a stomach gurgle which silenced me immediately. Not just a regular stomach sound, oh no, my friends, this was more like a war cry. Once the first was released, the others followed suit, and my stomach began to feel very much out of sorts. War had been declared. I felt an accompanying wave of nausea and instantly regretted all the rich chocolate pastries I'd ingested earlier. Damn my weakness for sweetness. Feeling humbled, I fell silent because I knew from experience that if I were to awaken the sleeping dragon, all hell would break loose, and with handsome Tom next to me, that could not happen. I continued silently, while he was animatedly telling me a story. I threw in the occasional haha OMG and really, to throw him off from figuring out that something was very, very wrong, and started to feel cold. It was about 9 degrees. As if on cue for the chaos that was about to ensue, it began to rain. Not just like a slight drizzle, no, torrential rain, like cats and dogs type rain. Then the wind began to howl, no joke. I swear the FX team up above was playing me hard. I remember thinking, are you freaking kidding me? Here I am in the middle of nowhere in a storm, with all the shops and restaurants closed for the day, and a hot stud at my side and explosive diarrhea about to spray from my butthole. I thought to myself, this is it. This is how I die. Oh, cruel, cruel life. At that moment, Tom looked to me and said, you're awfully quiet all of a sudden, gorgeous. The rain hid the beads of sweat that had accumulated from me tightly squeezing my sphincter muscles, silently screaming to my body that it was not yet time to release the kraken. Let's hurry up so we could get out of this mess and be warm and cozy at home. Sigh, so naive, this young grasshopper. I then stopped, looked him dead in the eye, and responded through semi-clenched teeth. I can't walk fast right now. In fact, I can't walk at all. Y'all. At that point, I revealed the rumbles in my tummy to him. I was too far gone to be embarrassed. I was in survival mode. Death by diarrhea was not going to be written on my tombstone. The only thing that prevented me from releasing myself there and then was Tom's presence, as well as the fact that I was freezing and had on several layers and it was raining, and I could not allow myself to end up covered in poop stains and then get into his car, which we still couldn't locate, BTW. I was not about to poop myself in front of my potential future husband. Not today, Satan! I rebuke thee, people of Reddit. This is when I knew this one was a special one. The man immediately had a plan. He walked me to a closed shop to shelter underneath near a traffic light and said he'd search for the car. His phone had died, so he asked for mine and took a video of where I was to be able to find me back if necessary. He then kissed me on my forehead and said he'd be back soon, and that if I had to poop on the pavement, to just do it. There were cars driving by, BTW. I sat in front, the closed shop window. Sitting was a lot better than standing, easier on my overworked sphincter muscles, and was shivering from the cold and the desperate need to release the poison from my bowels. After what felt like an eternity, and me wondering if this man had decided to just leave me and have a new S10 phone as his own, his red car honked and pulled up on the curb, and the man got out in the pouring rain to get me and open the door for me as I hobbled in. Yes, I swooned despite the fact that I was low-key dying. Guys, I almost didn't make it back to our Airbnb. The grimaces, moans, and facial expressions were very unsexy. Unless you're into that, different strokes for different folks, ya know. And at one point, Tom turned to me, took my hand, and said gently, if you need to poop in your pants and in the car, you can. I have my dog's towel in the back. It's covered in white dog hair, but who cares? Y'all, if this ain't the one I give up on love, with every fiber of being in my body, I willed myself not to give in to the demands of my bowels on this first day of vacation with this amazing man. Finally, we got up to the Airbnb. He ended up having to carry me. And as I sat on the toilet, after forcing him to go outside and listen to music with the headphones on, I finally released a gasp of simultaneous relief and anguish as I gave in to the sweet surrender and expelled every iota of demonic waste from the hell that was my bowels. I stayed on that seat until my legs went numb and I nearly blacked out. I even went back. 4 times total. My guy took great care of me and made sure I was hydrated. And that night after I felt better and laughed about the ordeal, we ended up making love 4 times after I'd thoroughly washed every orifice of my being from the day's trauma. And yes, 4 times. The same number of times this princess had to use the porcelain throne. Romantic, no. Double swoon, and yes to all the romantics out there, we are currently in the happiest, healthiest, and most loving relationship. Let's see if in a few years I'll edit this to say we're still together. Heh. For now, I'll leave it here for you all to have a chuckle since I can more than laugh about it now. Ironically enough, I still can't allow myself to fart around him. Edit. We recently celebrated our 2-year relationship with a weekend trip to the place in this post. Happier and more in love than ever. Definitely my person. Edit. The 28th of January, 2024. Together for soon to be 4 years. We live together with our dog, belly laugh every day, and generally have a wonderful relationship. No relationship is perfect, but whenever we have a disagreement, we communicate and resolve it. We still laugh and giggle, and have fun like the first year of dating. Thanks to everyone who liked my post.